Today I'm going to show you how to make your own Mimbulus Mimbletonia. For the pot of this plant, I have the worksheet on my website. You can find the link in the description box below. And we're going to start with some polymer clay and creating the pot from some paper. I also have a piece of chalk pastel, which I am using to stain my polymer clay, so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. Some liquid Sculpey and hand sanitizer to smooth out the clay, and my clay tools. First, I'm going to start off by cutting out this template. I printed it on some heavier card, but you can also print it on normal printed paper and then trace it on some heavier cardstock. I'm folding the glue flap down and then gluing the ends together. Then with some tin foil, I'm going to fill up the entire pot with tin foil. This is to make it sturdy and to fill it up without using clay. If you want to craft along, I put a list of materials in the description box below so you can see what you need for this project. In between the layers, I put some liquid Sculpey just to make sure that everything attaches to each other. You can also make your own liquid Sculpey by putting some hand sanitizer in some Sculpey, normal Sculpey, mix it together until it goes liquid. You can see there is a hole in the middle, and in that hole I will stick a piece of dowel so I can build up my Mimbulus Mimbletonia on top of that. The bottom of the pot I'm gluing onto a piece of paper, or gluing with the liquid Sculpey. I'm putting it on a piece of paper and then I put this in the oven so it can bake all together. Whilst that is baking, I'm going to prepare my Sculpey for coloring and softening the clay. I'm going to scrape off some of this chalk pastel so you can see what I'm doing, and also to give it a base color. I am using Sculpey Ultra Light. This is a very soft clay to work with and it does not need a lot of conditioning, and it's also very easy to color with either chalk pastel. You can also use alcohol markers or just alcohol ink or acrylic paint before you bake it. Here we have a soft lump of clay which is ready to be formed into the Mimbulus Mimbletonia. For this I am going to get some sheets of tin foil. Then I'm going to tear them into smaller strips so I can roll them into little tin foil balls and build my Mimbulus Mimbletonia that way. Here you can see all the smaller pieces, and I'm just going to crumple them up and roll them into balls. This might hurt your hands a little bit, so be careful. And then going to pinch off a tiny bit of clay, making that into a little ball and forming that around the tin foil ball, so we don't have to use so much clay, but just use the tin foil inside the little balls. Roll it in between your hands to make it nice and smooth, and then you won't even notice the tin foil is in there. Once the plant pot comes out of the oven and is cooled down, you can cut away the excess paper that is around the base of the pot. I'm then applying some liquid Sculpey to the base of the pot and also to the dowel, so the polymer clay balls have something to stick onto. Then I'm grabbing a piece of Sculpey and I'm going to put that around the dowel, just so you won't see the dowel if any of the polymer clay balls don't cover the entire thing. So then you would just see the green behind it. And now it's time to build up that Mimbulus Mimbletonia look by just sticking all the little balls onto it. You can just start with some larger ones at the bottom and put some smaller ones in between and work your way up. Here it is all put together, and I'm leaving that top bit open so I can put a little ring there. It's like a little metal ring with a piece of wire in it, so I can just screw that in. I'm now poking some holes in the Mimbulus Mimbletonia so I can put pieces of toothpick, just the top parts, in there as the little prickles. I had to sacrifice quite a few toothpicks for this, but that's okay. I just use them as mixing sticks or other building materials later on. They are very tiny. Just dip them in some liquid Sculpey and put them inside the little dents that you made before. Here we have it, ready to be baked and painted. If you choose, you can also put some color on, like I'm doing here first with some chalk pastel. I found that this kind of clay, this particular Sculpey, does not really take chalk pastel very well, so I just stopped it here. You can see there's a little bit of shading, so I stopped it here, I baked it, and then I will paint it with acrylic paint, which is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm using various types of green, and I'm going in pretty dark where all the parts meet, and then I'm going to go over the ends with a brown, and I'm also going to put a wash over the entire thing with a watered down brown acrylic, because this gives a very nice, how do you call this, watercolor kind of effect. I'm also going to paint the pot, which is baking soda, baking powder, and acrylic paint, and a little bit of water mixed together. And this gives a nice fluffy and gritty paint, which is perfect for that texture for a plant pot. I will leave the recipe in the description box below as well. It needs a couple of layers, but it really gives a nice terracotta pot effect. And this is where I go in with that watered down acrylic paint to give that watercolor type of effect. And let's have a look what the final result looks like. I hope you enjoyed this 4th installment of the Harry Potter ornaments. There are many more that will follow in the coming weeks. I really do love how this Mimbulus Mimbletonia turned out. All my social media can be found in the description box below, and if you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos, and of course become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!